The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on. I think he missed the complete. That is crazy stuff.
Side Freitas is on the grass on the infield before. He slides through. He tags Richard Eck.
Live from the Homestead-Miami Speedway in Dade County, Florida, Round 5 of the LionHeart IndyCar Series Season 2 on the Global Sim Racing Channel. Back at it tonight in Homestead-Miami for what's going to be another exciting race. 84 laps at 126 miles on tap for this evening. I want to welcome you into the broadcast booth, myself, Evan Poselko, alongside with Sean Ambrose as always. And Sean, we had a little bit of a bonus race that we were able to cover 1 week ago out in Sonoma, California. It was awesome to see one of those road courses races, be able to get it up here televised, but we're back to what this bulk of the season is made out of, and that is these very fast 1.5 mile and intermediate ovals. And tonight it's Homestead-Miami Speedway, and you made a comment to me before we went on, these guys have been bad fast all week long, and it's going to be a wild 84 lap affair.
Man, it really is, and I've had the pleasure of running bad fast with these guys this week, and it's amazing. I get in there and I run with them, and I still can't crack the top 10. I mean, I'm working hard and I'm drafting, and these guys have just put so much time in here, and they just know that special line around this joint, and it's going to be fast and furious tonight. I don't see too many cautions in our future, to be honest with you. I think we got a really hot race in store for us tonight. They're coming back to coming off the road course and coming back to one of the fastest mile-and-a-half tracks out there. They're going to get around at speeds upwards of 225 miles an hour tonight and get around this thing in just over 25 seconds. And yeah, this is going to be a great race tonight, Evan.
And when we come back to the ovals, you have to talk about, obviously, the way the draft works. And especially at this racetrack, a Homestead-Miami Speedway, that for all the stock car fans out there is typically reserved for championship weekend. Well, it's race 5 of 18. And we're glad to have you with us, as always, on this Wednesday evening on the Global Sim Racing Channel as we get set to get this one back underway. If you weren't with us 1 week ago, again, said a little bit of bonus coverage. Was not originally on our television schedule, but we were out at Infineon Race with the Cup configuration in Sonoma, California for the first road course race on this season campaign. And that one was exciting, as always. And talk about the results going back to that one where it was the Jesse Vincent entry would start on pole position, walked away at the end of it all as the winner, took home the checkered flag, leading 41 out of 41 laps. A dominating performance. Don't expect to see somebody be able to stay up front the way the draft and the way the racing works at these ovals, but it was a spectacular job by him, as well as guys like Matt Kingsbury, Michael Gray, Justin Laxton, and Bradley Walters all through the top 5 in that event.
Yeah, and a lot of guys made ground. I mean, Jesse Vincent took the lead back in the points. Rick Music, unfortunately, wasn't very fortunate last week, and he took a huge points hit, falling 47 points behind Jesse Vincent, who, quite frankly, has been one of the fastest guys out here in practice this week. So, Rick's got a lot of work to do tonight, but don't worry, Rick's been plenty fast here at Homestead in practice, and I'm sure he's going to be up there towards the front before this thing is over. And you can't forget the Kingsbury brothers. Those guys are going to be in this thing to the end. They're going to be slicing and dicing, trying to get their way to the front and stay up there and leave everybody in their dust. So it should be a really interesting night, man. George Ansaldo has had a great week in practice. He's going to be up there. So yeah, we got a heck of a race ahead of us tonight, Evan.
And let's talk about this Homestead-Miami Speedway. Right now we're working in what's going to be the final minute of our 30-minute open practice session. Then 5 minutes of closed qualifying for the ovals, where these drivers will get 2 laps. Solo car runs, the average of those 2 are going to be able to get them on that grid. And with 32 cars so far, 30 of which have already put down a time in practice, that is going to be one of the keys to this race. Never want to kind of start yourself in a hole. Always want to be up front, make things a lot easier on yourself. But let's talk about this Homestead-Miami Speedway. Located in Homestead, Florida, has a capacity crowd of 65,000 race fans that can pack in here on any given race weekend. It's owned and operated by the ISC, opened back in 1995 for a $70 million US price tag at that time. Hosts NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, the NASCAR Xfinity Series, Camping World Trucks, all that good stuff, the Grand Am Rolex Sports Car Series as well. We're out with the Indy cars this evening. The track itself, when you talk 1.5s, and you can use some of the tracks that we've seen already already so far this season, Chicagoland Speedway being one of them. The 1.5-mile tracks, you're taking a look at the track map, typically have a tri-oval. This one, it's a straight up oval. You got two long straightaways, the back and the front, and then you got corners 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 with progressive banking, 18 degrees when you're down on the white line and 20 up against the fence. 3 degrees a little bit on the straightaways as well, but that progressive banking is going to come to effect. And although it is only 2 degrees, Sean, it can allow this racetrack to get a little bit more characteristic, can give a little bit of advantage to somebody maybe trying to hold off at a pass on the outside lane, get a good defense off the corner, get a huge run coming down that banking. You got to love racetracks with that progressive banking, and this is one of those tracks that obviously incorporates that, and that's what makes it so bad fast. And we're sitting at a race set at, again, at 84 laps in length at 126 miles when it is all said and done. We're running lap time sub 30 seconds. You predicted not a lot of yellows. If everybody's able to keep them pointed forward for good amounts of times and decent green flag stints, this race could be rather short time-wise, which means that, again, right now, these next 4 minutes of qualifying that are left could be crucial in determining where you end up at the end of the night.
Yeah, qualifying is going to be very, very important. And, honestly, a lot of the guys, if, when you're dealing with a fixed setup like these guys are, you would think everybody is going to be close and right near the top. Well, that's certainly been the case all week in practice. These guys have literally been separated by thousandths of a second. Qualifying up front is going to be very important, and you're going to have to do a good job of keeping those guys off your tail. Jesse Vincent's proven to be able to do that all week, so it's, if he's up front, I expect him to break away. But, yeah, this is going to be a great night. They're only going to get about 30 to 32 laps out of the fuel. I haven't seen any runs go longer than, honestly, 30 laps. So there's some people out there talking that they can get 31 to 32. So we'll see what happens. But the usual cast of characters is going to be up front tonight. Jesse Vincent, Trevor Malone, George Ansaldo, Rick Music. Even our friend Justin Laxon in Overdrive Graphics is looking hot tonight. So, yeah, we've got a good one in store.
And again, with that comes the fact that we did talk about the one quick fix, which is utilized and is something that could come into effect. A lot of the drivers don't even want to have to think about it, but if they are caught up in an incident, they're going to get one quick fix. For some drivers that may not be, or other viewers that may not be familiar with that, or members of iRacing, is the fact that you can get damage at one point in this race come down, not have to wait for the X amount of time that the sim gives you, that you have to wait for either required or optional repairs to that race car. Come down, get a brand new one like it just came off the hauler. However, it's a gift and a curse in the same time. These DW12s don't really take a lot of damage well, but you could easily just make very small contact with the outside wall. Again, you can see huge arrow push end up in the fence here. You can graze it just a little bit, it can hurt your race car. You can graze it a little bit, nothing might happen from it. However, you don't get to choose when you get that quick fix. So if you make any little contact, it can take that away from you. So you really almost have no mulligans going into this one at 84 laps. But you never want to rely, Sean, as that quick fix. You never really want to have to hope that you're going to fall back on it. But it's there, situationally, depending with these cars in the big drafts. You talked about 220 plus miles an hour when they're out there in the packs. Contact is something that, can and possibly will happen tonight because, everybody out there is human. It's going to be pretty hard to go 84 laps at that speed without any yellows, especially how hard these guys are going to start, Deacon. It's interesting as we get down to the final minute of the qualifying session because of the fact that now we're really getting into the chunk of the season. We got out of the first 3 oval races, finally got that first road course event out of the way. Now we're really getting to that heart of the season where it's crunch time. The championship picture is starting to form out, and, these are the times that some people might, get tired a little bit or maybe lose focus. But it's this heart of the season where when you really get excited and, everybody starts looking at the points once we get the 5 to go, 4 races to go in the season, these are the races that can make or break the championship, ones that might almost be overlooked because all of these extremely important. Again, tonight could end up being one of the drivers' 3 drop weeks, so 15 out of the 18 races do count towards their championship standings. Something else to keep in mind, but a whole lot going down, and Homestead to get a very fast and a very exciting 1.5 mile speedway for these DW12 cars, especially if you've ever raced them on iRacing, the official series. I know goes here as well.
Yeah, and Evan, we've just wrapped up qualifying, buddy, and looking at what we got here, let's roll off qualifying and see where everybody's going to be on the grid here. We've got Matt Kingsbury on the pole. Matt Kingsbury putting it on the pole in the number 21 there, and Tony Lurcock in second. That pole winning speed, a 25.605. Blazing fast time out there by yourself. Big Joe starting in the second row. Third place there, number 11, Big Joe. And number 52, Ray Kingsbury. The other brother there is back there in fourth place. So those guys really had it dialed in. Rick Music in fifth and a number 5. Dan Guerin in sixth place in the 06. Bradley Walters in seventh and a number 56. And in eighth place, Nicholas Gunther in the 07. In ninth place, Trevor Malone in the number 69. And rounding out the top 10, Carl Burke in the 027.
Looking on from row 6th on back, 11th to Pierre Daigle, Jesse Vincent. After being second fastest on the practice charts, going to be back in P12. You got Dano Brookins in 13th, George Anzaldo in 14th. That's the outside of row 7. 15th position to John Downing. Michael Gray, the 888 car, is back in 16th position. 17th is Krista Nelson. Chris Poole as well alongside her at 18th. 19th is Robert Blowen, rounding out the top 20, and sitting outside on row number 10 is the 53 of Justin Laxton.
Yes, sir. And in number 20, in 21st, Corey Connor in the number 2. I know he's a little under the weather tonight, so we help Corey the best. Jack Bogan in 22nd, a number 20 car. Joshua Borje Bonkowski in 23rd in a number 193. I believe this is Joshua's first race of the season tonight. In 24th, Ian Adams in a number 7. In 25th, Jason Robars in the 64. And in 26, Dennis Nickel in the number 90. Peter Ramberg, the number 85, 27th. 28th, Vincent Bluthenthal in the number 72. 29th, Drew Motz in the number 45. Expect to see Drew up front sometime tonight. In the number 57, Michael Whitman, who did not take a qualifying time. In 30th place, number 57 of Whitman. In 31st, the number 9 of Alfred E. Shepard. And rounding out the field, 32 cars strong tonight, in the 012, John Martin, 32nd.
And John Martin is on the grid in the 012 powered Honda entry. Do not see Alfred Shepard on track right now. He did not put down a time in qualifying and would have been falling back at a provisional for the race, but the 9 car is not currently on the racetrack. So we'll keep an eye to see if he does indeed get out there and possibly maybe starting from pit road, which would mean he'd have about a 6-second delay before he can go once our leaders take the green flag after we cycle through corners 3 and 4. Things to note about pit road, if it's under caution or if it's under green flag racing, is the access roads. You got to enter pit road essentially in turn 3, take that service road around, and then you got to exit at a turn 2, take that service road all the way around again. That can make a break or race as well. The pace car going to take the shortcut this time though. Ducks down and away, green flag, get set to fly. Matt Kingsbury in control of this field. Green flag flies. We're racing for round 5 for the Homestead-Miami Speedway. This field is green.
Yes, sir, it is. I'm kind of checking in here at the back of the field. Everybody's staying in line, making it through that first turn. Not much to report here so far. Everybody is really looking clean coming out of turn 2 and heading over to turn 2, getting ready to go through there. And it looks like everybody's gotten away clean so far. About to complete lap 1 here, Evan.
A little bit of action brewing around P10. I see Jesse Vincent on the inside of the Carl Burke entry. That is for P11. Burke at a Valvoline machine up high in the 027. Vincent has the bottom. That would have been one of the first battles on track. Everybody in front of them, single file for the moment. New leader goes to the number 11 car. A Big Joe Hasser. Crossover, though, right back at you, says the 021. Kingsbury to the bottom into 3. You see out of 4 there. Going to get back to the top spot, and that's the way the draft works. That's pretty much how we're going to see these top 2 traded out all race long. You see Joe go back to the inside. Kingsbury now going to get the run. Expect him to make the move once again on the bottom, just like Big Joe Hazard did, and there it is there. So the top 2 going to continue to swap it out with the utilization of that draft. Same deal goes for P3. Ray Kingsbury had it at the start-finish line. Tony Lurcock leads at a 4, and looks like he's going to be able to get that spot and lead this time at the start-finish line. So the 42 car going to be up to P3 after starting second. A slid back 1 spot. Kingsbury remains in P4.
Up here watching Krista Nelson and Chris Poole and John Downing all fighting it out. Heck of a battle they've got going on here back here for 18th, 19th, and 20th place. Krista kind of leading this little pack of 3 cars. And that's what I'm seeing right here at the back of the field right now. Little 3-car packs just trying to make their way up through the field. as we come down the front stretch and complete another lap here. Lap 5 is already in the books, Evan.
To note that 31 of 32 eligible cars did start. The only car to not fire, the number 9 of Alfred Shepard, did not put down a time in practice, nor did he put down a time in the qualifier session. One car, though, did elect to start from pit road. He sits 17.8 seconds back right now. That's the number 69 of Trevor Malone. Very interesting. Fastest in the practice session, qualified 9th. He starts way back there. One car has met the outside fence down the front straightaway and has lost some significant speed. The Joshua Borje-Bonkowski entry is slow, and that Bullring Racing machine is now down on the pit lane area, down on that apron in 1 and 2 with heavy damage.
Yeah, Evan, and I'm trying to pick that up here right now. And, honestly, Joshua had gotten off to a little bit of a rough start there in the beginning and saw his car blink a couple of times. And unfortunately, it's looking like maybe he'd had a little bit of trouble with some net code, and that might have been what caused the accident there for him.
He had some contact with another machine. It appears to be Jack Bogan. Now more trouble. Caution flag is out on the speedway. Somebody is turned around, and we're going to slow him down, hearing that it is the number 25, Krista Nelson, is into the inside retaining wall. You see it down there. Replay going to go up now. This was a side-by-side battle in the corner with Ian Adams. Looks like 7 may have slid up a little bit, chopped off that 25, and with nowhere to go, trying to get around the Nelson entry was Peter Ramberg. He got into the back of her, turned her around, and out in the grass, and we'll come back to the live camera, but Krista Nelson around early, coming off of a decent run 1 week ago, but tough luck for both her as well as the Bonkowski entries, just the way the draft works, and people getting tight around them, essentially getting into them, causing them to wreck. And even though that one with Bonkowski did not cause a yellow, Sean, essentially the cars that started both of those machines are still out there on track. They're not the ones with damage. A little bit of pit road action going on here. Race leader Big Joe Hassert with the fake. Matt Kingsbury will follow him. Tony Lurcock stays out, but Ray Kingsbury from 4th on back. A lot of people from there on throughout going to come down pit road, almost a 50-50 split, but looks like the majority of these cars down pit road, and it's going to be just a couple of our guys up front that aren't doing it. Very interesting strategy call for early in the race, just about lap 9.
Well, Evan, I kind of like it, honestly, because I think these guys are probably a little encouraged by the way the race started. Honestly, we almost got to 10 laps there to start this race. I say, why not come in, top off, get fresh tires? If you were behind the top 5 cars, it's really not going to matter anyway. You could be looking at another 20 to 30 laps and maybe even a green flag pit stop next. So now's not a bad time to come in.
And again, always the fuel strategy is something in mind that a lot of these guys, again, iRacing does provide you with a spotter, that computer-generated AI spotter that lets you know what everybody else is doing. But some guys, Sean, they do have guys up there up in the pit box watching around, letting them know, pushing the buttons on the calculator and making some of these fuel decisions, possibly an idea in that regards. Again, anywhere from 30, some guys may be stretching it to 32 laps, depending on situations like this, where we would see a caution flag, but at an 84-lap event, that would put you right in the sweet spot for 2 stops. I believe now is still well too early to be able to complete it, but again, strategy and whatnot, plus tires never hurt anybody when you get out there on track. We'll have to see the way this racetrack races and the way these cars get very tight. You saw it happen about 6-7 laps into that run where everybody really started pushing up the hill coming off on exit. If that may give them any sort of advantage, that's something that we're going to have to keep an eye on. But quite a few cars that get up at the front of this field stayed out, and majority, though, of the field is down pit road. A little bit of strategy as well on pit road, shuffling things up as well. And besides the top 3 right now, Big Joe Hassert, Matt Kingsbury, and Tony Lurcock, you got the next 4 cars. Michael Gray is P4, started 16th. Starting 18th was Chris Poole. He's 5th. Now 6th is the 27th place starter of Peter Ramberg. That car, however, does have heavy damage after getting into the back of the Chris Elson entry. And then Drew Motz, who sits 7th right now, started 29th. So for those 4 cars, subtract the 85 of Ramberg, if you will, if he comes down to get that wing fixed. I feel like if he doesn't, he'll be quite off pace. We'll have to see how the draft plays into effect in that one. But those guys are using the, I guess, lack of their own strategy. I guess it's a strategy in of itself of staying out in comparison to the guys in front of you, using that to their advantage to pick up some track position early on as well.
Yeah, and I followed Dennis Nickel there. He decided to come back in a second time. Dennis Nickel in the Klein Tools machine, the Klein Tool Honda. And lights are off of the pace car, Evan, so we're getting ready to go back to green here next lap. But Dennis brought it back in again and just topped off fuel. Didn't take tires, came in a second time, topped off fuel. So Dennis is already thinking about a fuel strategy here, already looking at that end game. And he's got a long way to go as he's in 30th place, but he's still on the lead lap, and there's still plenty of racing left to do tonight.
And that's why you gotta love the way that these race links set up. We are ready for the restart, single file restarts as the lights are off for the pace car and we go down the pack straight away. But it is a very interesting strategy. Again, this restart going to be coming to tank lap number 12. It is an 84 lap affair, so still 70 or so laps left to go. But with yellows and whatnot, again, these guys can ride around in 4th gear, try to save some fuel as well. Maybe if they're predicting it to go a little bit more that direction, anything is possible. And the way that these fuel races line up, where Sean, it's not 2 full fuel runs or 3 full fuel runs. There's a little bit of leeway, allows us to see this kind of fuel strategy, which always can throw a curveball into these races, and sometimes at the end of the day, give us some surprise winners. The pace car is down and away. Joe Hassard in control. He has no hesitation. Green flag flies. He's gone, though, once the pace car hits pit road, and he sails it off at a quarter number 1. Top 3-5 now, single file. First battle, Drew Mott's trying to hold off. The Peter Ramberg entries going backwards and give Mott's that position it was for P6.
Yeah, and everybody 2x2 back here at the back of the field. Nice little pack getting off here, and get about 10 cars nose to tail trying to make their way to turn 3 and through 3 and 4 here. Again, side by side coming out of turn 4 as we make our way back around the start finish line. We get 1 lap here in the books as we go back under green, Evan.
Well, we predicted that, or we should have expected Ramberg to come in for damage repair. 3 wide off the corner, contact. There he goes into the inside wall. The 85 of Peter Ramberg. That car got way tight. He got into the right rear of somebody else and slowed down the back straightaway. No yellow flag from that one, but Peter Ramberg, the Northwest Racing entry, is into the inside wall. He was going way backwards after that front wing damage. For some reason, had elected to not come down pit road and was getting real squiggly through 1 and 2. Got checked up. 2 cars tried to get around him. One of them was able to do so. The unlucky one, Ray Kingsbury, gets clipped. That's the machine that was out in the grass, does not get into the fence, gets back out on track, back up the speed, but will cost a 52 huge track position, going from a top 5 to now 22nd on track. But again, no yellow as that incident happening down and off of the racing surface, so we stay green. It does appear that the Ramberg entry is down pit road for services. He'll join Joshua Borke-Bonkowski as the only other driver off at the lead lap right now, so both them are 1 lap down, 30th and 31st, but 29 cars still going at it on the lead lap, and one of those battles
contact
the
on the front
spot.
stretch, contact. Oh, got a car in the wall. Ray Kingsbury in the wall over the start finish line. Wow, as we get to the replay here, we got Ray Kingsbury into the wall. Really unfortunate there. He wow.
He had just been in an incident as well. Again, he had been collected in that 3 wide that saw the one machine with trouble. Peter Ramberg with damage in another 3 wide situation. I think Kingsbury just got a little bit nervous there, coming on the bottom and flying on the bottom for that matter. Looks like the Trevor Malone entry comes up the racetrack as he normally would. A little bit of a bobble. Kingsbury gets into him, and it's Ray who ends up hard into the inside wall, back up onto the racetrack, and stopped. Has to limp that thing back around, is forced to take a tow back to pit road, and once again, because the brunt force of that impact was the inside retaining wall off of the racing surface, he did bounce back up there, but was well away from the race leaders. The sim does not trigger a caution. We stay green flag racing, and things just got real ugly for Ray Kingsbury, who 5 laps ago was a top 5 car. 2 incidents now puts him down on pit road with a tow and heavy damage.
Yeah, really kind of surprised we didn't see a yellow flag there, Evan. It just, well, I guess the car really, the pack had already gone by and the car didn't really come up onto the racing surface, so I guess that's why I didn't throw the yellow, but I am a bit surprised, and man, that is a tough break for Kingsbury. That could be the end of the night for him, as I may have already gotten a fast repair already. Hard to tell, but that car is still in the pits and not looking too good right now.
And even if he is able to get back out there, the only spots he'll be getting are from cars that fall out of this race. He's now 3 laps down in 31st. Ramberg is 2 back in 30th, and 1 lap down is Borje Bonkowski. But there's no lucky dogs, no wave arounds, like there are in a NASCAR Stock Car Series race. The only way to get a lead lap back is if you stay out and everybody else comes down pit road. He's going to be well behind in regards to that strategy. So it's one of the most painful things as a driver to do, and Ray's going to have to deal with it as he got his quick fix. He's back out on the access road in 1 and 2, and he's going to rejoin the racing surface. He's got to stay out there. He's one of the top running cars in the championship. He's going to probably be back up the pace right now that he has a fresh machine, but 3 laps down, the only way again he'll make up spots is if people rank out of this race is just trying to, fight through the painfulness of driving around all by yourself for these next 60 plus laps in this event, knowing that you have to rely on somebody else to wreck out of the race if you want to get any spots. And again, from a top 5 positioning to right now dead last on the scoring charts in 31st position out of 31 cars that started this race. Terrible luck, but that's how quickly that your luck can change at these oval races, these speeds. You just get into that 3-wide battle both times at a very inopportune time off the corner, and unfortunately out of those 3 times he was the car that ended up getting taken out in it. He survived the first one for the most part. Second one bit him. He's back up and is now 4 laps down.
Nice little battle going on here for 17th, 18th, and 19th place. And now coming into the picture, 20th place, Jack Bogan, Trevor Malone, Vincent Blumenthal, Ian Adams, all having a nice little race back here, just trying to make up positions and get to the front of the field. Jack Bogan just having a little bit of push there. That's one of the problems here is you get to drafted with these things and you get sucked up to that car in front of you and you come up on these turns so quick, man, that car just wants to push right up into that wall. You got to get out of the gas, and man, that just really kills your momentum here.
And you're going to lose again all that speed for that very long front and door back straightaway. The top 3, 4, 5 even for that matter, starting to spread out just a little bit. I talked about him at Kingsbury. He was swapping out the top spot with Big Joe Hassert earlier, where one of them would lead halfway down the back, the next guy to the inside, and they continue that routine down the front, down the back, every lap in and lap out. Without Kingsbury and the 021 machine started on pole position, leads this race right now, but down by 0.7 of a second to the good over Joe Hassert, now 9. So starting to pull away from him now as he's gotten far enough away to kind of break that immediate draft and is soon going to be over a second away from him. Big Joe Hassert not as lucky because Tony Lurcock only 3/2 off of him right now, going to be closing in on the battle for second position. But then you got about half a second back to a Michael Gray, a second from there back to Chris Poole. So slowly but surely these top runners starting to pull away from each other. Matt Kingsbury, now 1.1 seconds to the good. He's liking what he's seeing right now, but it's those mid-pack areas. You said it just a moment ago, Sean. The battle for 17th. You got like 5 cars within a second of each other for 10th, etc. Great battle going on right now for 12th position with Dano Brookins trying to hold off the Justin Laxton entry. It's these guys mid-pack. The way that draft works, they just can't get away from each other, and they're going to have to fight through it for this entire stretch, as opposed to some of those guys in those top running positions that can almost take a breather.
Yeah, and just some we're talking about it right now. There's some great racing going on back here in 13th place and 14th place. George Anzaldo trying to hang on to this little 3-car battle in front of him. Just some really, really stout racing on. Bradley Walters just kind of caught there in the middle, watching that little fight in front of him here between Daniel Brookins and Justin Laxton. I mean, and here they come up on the outside there. Bradley Walters and George Anzaldo just leave Daniel Brookins there like he's standing still, and then Dano takes that low line going in and is able to hold George off. So, yeah, really great racing going on right here. And here's where we start talking about that strategy that just played out in the last pit stop. Okay, we've had a nice green flag run here. I don't want to jinx anything, but hey, these guys are moving down the track. We've got a couple of cars coming in right now. Jason Robarge, I saw, just went in. So we've got some guys already having to come in here. Cars probably not handling so good. They decide to come in now because it doesn't look like there's going to be a yellow flag anytime soon. These guys are spread out and they're racing hard.
And the pit stops have already begun. I know Tony Lurcock, for that matter, he is down in pit road. Again, something you got to watch out for is when you're exiting and on those access roads, you don't have the 18 to 20 degrees of banking. That's flat down there. You're going to try to get whatever speed you can out of it, especially if you're in a close battle for position when you hit the pit lane. But it is very easy, Sean, to get those right side tires into the grass on that outside part of the access road. At that point, you have no control over your car. I've seen several times on this sim somebody catch the grass and they just go sliding right up into the racing surface, get into a lead lap car, and things get ugly from that point. So it may be an overlooked thing, but you got to be careful getting on and off of pit road.
Man, Ray Kingsbury just almost got into Justin Laxton there. Really, really, really close call. Almost a little bit of contact there. Just a really tight battle going back here between 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th place. These guys are just trying to take any position they can right now, and they are fighting hard for every inch of track space, Evan.
Again, these positions can very easily flip that switch from the point where you're constantly fighting with somebody to the point where you get a little bit of a breathing room. Like right now, Matt Kingsbury, 2.4 seconds out of nowhere to the good over Big Joe Hazard, who started third, sits second on the racetrack right now. Joe's pretty much good. He's got a second back to the Michael Gray. Then you got Chris Poole even further back and more. But Joe Hazard now down pit road. That cycles the gap between now P1 and P2 being Kingsbury and Gray to 4 seconds. We're hearing the 888 car is going to be coming down. The reason that we're a little bit past his race leader, Matt Kingsbury, coming in as well as our second place runner, is we just got past, we're at lap 34. Sean talked about 30 to 32. These guys saved a little bit of fuel under that last caution run. So now these guys are in for their official first stop at a 2 that they would need to make the distance.
Right, and you know, some of these guys that decided to go in are still out here, so we still got more pits to cycle around. As we see Drew Motz is coming in right now. He just made the call. He's going in, following Nicholas Gunther right now, still out there in 5th place. Rick Music now up to 3rd. Dan Guerin just in front of him there in 2nd. Okay, these guys still all have to pit, so you know it's going to be really interesting to see. Okay, and Guerin is now just taking over the 1st place spot. So here we go. And these guys, like you said, they're going to have to be careful getting off this pit here because they're generally probably going to come out into a lot of traffic, as we're seeing right now here on the backstretch.
And that's something else, and you're going to get cars out there that are fresh off of the pit lane with brand new sticker tires, as well as some of the guys out there that are a little bit slower.
Jason Robarge there, just into another car.
We got big trouble in corner 4. Yellow is out. A whole bunch of cars around. Looks like about 3-4 of them at least. I see Jack Bogan. There's the Jason Robarge, the Marlboro entry. Caution flag is out after things quickly became a parking lot out of the corner. And it looks like somebody slid out on track. It appears to be the Nicholas Gwenther car. And did I not just say this about 2 minutes ago, Sean? Somebody overcooking that access road. That's exactly what the 07 did. Had no control up on track and came out right in front of guys that were at full speed. And that's something that I said could happen, and that's exactly what happened right there. No time for those guys that were at speed to react to it. The 07 and Nicholas Gwenther obviously taking responsibility for the incident. Does not make the news any better for anybody else. We go to caution at lap 38.
Yeah, and it looks like Nicholas Gunther just got hot coming to that pit road. The car pushed off to the right through the grass and back up into the track, and poor Jason Robarge had no place to go, and there were other cars made evasive moves there, and that was just a mess. That's a shame, because that's going to affect a lot of these guys that had just come into pit. So it'll be interesting to see how this cycles out as we go around.
And this is interesting, again, as you said, because kind of in the middle of pit stops right now. Dan Duran comes down pit road from the top spot. Rick Music following him. You got Justin Laxton, Jesse Vincent, Bradley Walters, Dan O'Brookins, Corey Connor. And then you got guys like Big Joe Hazard who are scored 1 lap down. Some of these cars are going to have to stay out, possibly get waived by the way that everything shaked out. You're taking a look at those guys that are down on pit road, getting their service completed. Provisionally right now, 16 cars are on the lead lap, which means that quite a few big names are off of the lead lap. Guys that have been having solid runs, guys like Joe Hazard, Matt Kingsbury, who just gets back to the lead lap as the caution flag flies to Chris Poole as well. Pierre Daigle, Vincent Bluthenthal, all of these guys are 1 lap off at the lead lap right now. Involved in that incident, Jack Bogan, Tony Lurcock, Jason Robards, and John Downing. Total 4 cars in that quarter 4 incident. Obviously going to be losing significant time for repairs as well. If there's any good news is they didn't have far to go to their stall if they had a quick fix, because it was right there at the pit road entry. But I talked about it, that there's a possibility that somebody could overshoot it, and I guess I forgot to knock on wood and I jinxed them, because that's exactly what we saw there in 3 and 4. You get in a little bit too hot once you're in the grass, zero control over where that race car's going.
Yeah, you really do. I mean, these cars are running big, wide slicks, and you hit a little bit of that grass, and that's it. It's all done for. And that was really, that was just a hard break there. I feel sorry for all the drivers involved, because some of those guys had used their fast fix already because of the earlier caution. So, it's just, that's a bad deal, man. And but hey, we're gonna start this race with lap 40 in the books, and we've had a great race so far. Some of the guys that we thought were going to be fast are up there anyway, regardless of what's happened. And several of these drivers still have a chance to get back in this thing and still put on a good race. So, it's going to be really interesting. Again, we had the single file restarts that we've seen throughout the season have made for a generally good restart and getting back to green flag racing runs. So I'm ready to get started here, Evan. I don't know about you.
This is a very interesting time for this caution flag, because again, everybody that had completed their service before, and include people now that just came down pit road under the yellow flag, are at the point in the race where we're 2 laps shy from halfway. This is now a 1-stop race, so that little bit of strategy that we saw people play 9 laps in, essentially irrelevant at this extent now, because 1 stop and you're good. You can make that anywhere from essentially lap 52 on, which gives these guys quite a window of, say, lap 52 all the way through lap 72, almost a 20-lap window that they can elect to come down pit road at, which is going to make that if this thing goes green all the way. Now, that was the longest green flag stretch that we had seen. We talk about that yellow flags are some of the most treacherous times for yellows. We saw one there. So statistically speaking, it would have to be the longest one of the night, and we're not going to go green all the way. You see it on 2 yellows so far. However, if we do, and that easily can happen, that's going to be a huge window of opportunity for the short pitch strategy to stay. For some people to stay out and, maybe bank on a yellow, or rather staying out to try to avoid getting caught a lap down from pitting earlier, which can open a whole wide open window of strategies, which, as you said, there's guys up front that we expected him to be. There's a couple of names up there that can surprise the show. How about Justin Laxton? We know he's fast. Started 20th, though. We expected him to do better after being 4th fastest in practice. He's already up to 2nd. A guy like a Jesse Vincent, top 2 car in practice, started outside the top 10. He's back up here as well. Even a Corey Connor, 26th fastest in practice, 21st in qualifying. A sleeper, a dark horse in this race. He's up to 7th as well. Many drivers that have started back in the pack due to being on the positive end of some of these circumstances are back in this one as we close in. Halfway point going to be just 2 laps away, but this restart going to be in control of the number 5 of Rick Music. Pace car down and away. Music in control. No hesitation. Green flag flies back underway from Homestead-Miami Speedway. Already the top 5 single file out, but it's a hornet's nest from 14th on back. A little bit of fighting going on there. The field already well spreading out. A couple of side-by-side battles, though, through 1 and 2.
Yeah, just a couple, not too many. Yeah, it looks like these guys are intent on spreading out. Ooh, 3 wide coming off of 2 right there. Boy, that was a close one. But just behind them here, we've still got guys just battling for positions, 2 cars at a time. Here towards the back, they got off pretty good. Nobody really fighting for much right there, but just up in front of them here in 21st and 20th place, there's a really good battle going on. These guys are still going to the turns 2 wide, trying to make it 3 wide. A little bit of slicing and dicing up there. I'd really watch out. There might be something happening soon, Evan.
Justin Laxton up at the front of the field to the inside on Rick Music. He gets the lead. However, will he be able to hold him off? That run off the banky not going to be enough for the 5 to get back this time by. However, Rick Music, we know that he's only being a car length off of that, is going to be able to have a run. The question is, how does he set him up, and how will he go about executing to make that move for the top spot? Fighting continuing on from there. 3rd place is under attack. Jesse Vincent owns it. It's wanted by the 06 of Dan Duran. Slides high off the quarter a little bit, kills that momentum. Vincent will play defense properly, and he'll lead it back off a quarter four. Laxton's still up front in the top spot, so two battles going on for first and then for third as well. Things calm for the moment, but side by side looks like for seventh on back. The two car is P6, Corey Connor. He's having to hold off Bradley Walters.
Yeah, and I'm listening to Dan Guerin and Jesse Vincent right now. They're working together. They're trying to get to those two in front of him there. Dan O'Brooken's kind of all by himself right there back in fifth, trying to make it work. I think he's hoping maybe Corey Connor will get up there to him and maybe give him a little bit of help. But Dano's trying to make it work right now. He's just hoping on maybe a little help from Corey. But just in front of him there, like I said, you got Dan and we've got a yellow flag coming out. Where's the caution, Evan? Did you see it?
Caution is out. Somebody is torn up on the back straightaway. Michael Gray, the 888 car, with heavy damage after being up front earlier in this race. Gets caught back after the cycle of pit stops. This one started in front of him, and it's going to be a 3-wide battle that does it in. It is Carl Burke in the 027 Valvoline entry. Looks like a little bit of netcoder prediction error there. Coming down the racetrack the slightest bit, 3-wide, making it 3-wide rather, as 2-wide below him. Drew Motz going to make the pass on the bottom, and there was still about a good 2-3 feet of room, but it recognized it as contact, sent Carl Burke around, absolutely nowhere to go, as Michael Gray tried to slow down, then hooked Carl Burke into the outside wall. Huge contact for both of those guys. Michael Gray did come back down, clipped one more car. He hit Chris Poole. Doesn't look like any significant damage there, but a 2-car incident that appears to be a little bit of netcode in that exchange. Slow us back down, and well, back to the pit lane we go. Laxton leads many of these cars down.
Yeah, Laxton leads him down, but Vincent stays out. So does Corey Connor. And just behind them, let's see who we got just behind them. We got Jesse Vincent stays out. Corey Connor stays out. George Anzaldo stays out, looking to make up a little ground there. So a bunch of guys taking the decision to stay out. Ian Adams is up there. We've got Corey Connor, like I said. So pretty good, strong cars that have decided to stay out. Now the question is, will they come in here on this next time around? Be hard to say, but right now with 48 laps in the books and this race past the halfway point, we did talk about that being the caution flag. I think right now might still be a little bit early to come in, Evan, but you could risk it.
It is very interesting as, again, some of these guys coming down, some of them staying out as well. If you're trying to stretch it from this point, in theory, if you're going to go to 84 laps and you're doing that on 32, you're going to be right now about 6 laps short. Now, we did see these guys be able to stretch it an additional 2 laps using 1 yellow earlier in the race. So, in theory, according to my completely probably incorrect math, about 2 or 3 cautions, if you're saving fuel for that entire stint of it, would allow you to make the distance, which is something that's going to be very interesting to see how this one shakes up. We are past the halfway point, though. Lights right now sit up on top of the iRacing Ford First Mustang pace car. Jesse Vincent is your leader. Let's give you the full field rundown. I'll let you know where everybody sits right now. Jesse Vincent leads this race. Corey Connor is in a P2 spot. You got George Anzaldo up to 3rd, 4th right now. Ian Adams. Dennis Nickel is P5, 6th position. The John Martin entry, 7th. Big Joe Hassert. Chris Poole back at 8th. 9th is Vincent Bluthenthal, and rounding out our top 10 and up 10 spots from where he started, the 53 of Justin Laxton.
Yeah, and holding it down in 11th place, Rick Music, Dan Guerin in 12th, Dan O'Brookens in 13th. Dan will get it back up front. He's been up there most of the night. He'll be back. Trevor Malone in 14th, Bradley Walters in 15th, Robert Bluen in 16th, Kristen Elson in 17th, John Downing in 18th, Matt Kingsbury 19th, Drew Motz rounding out the top 20 at number 45.
21st on Pierre Daigle, 22nd Michael Gray, last car on the lead lap, and is already back out there. These guys from here on out, 23rd plus, are out of this race right now after, what about 3 or 4 cautions so far in this race. Those cars include 23rd through 24th, 1 lap down, Jack Bogan and Joshua Borje-Ponkowski. 2 laps down, 25th through 29th position on track, will be the Nicholas Gwenther, Tony Lurcock, Peter Ramberg, Michael Whitman, and Carl Burke entries. All of those cars still on the lead lap. Burke now just falls to 3 laps down in 29th position. He is actually now behind the wall. He's going to go behind the wall, and maybe the first car actually to officially retire from this race, as Burke will slide to 31st, which means 2 cars that are 3 laps down still out there, though, 29th and 30th to Jason Robars and Ray Kingsbury. So, for all things considered, 30 out of 31 cars still in this race.
Yeah, they are. And hey, you know what? We're past the halfway point. We've still got 31 cars in this race. I'd say we're off to a fabulous evening here of racing. And, it's been a really exciting event. We've seen a lot of jockeying for position, not only at the front, but here in the middle of the pack and at the back of the pack. So we've still got a lot of cars here in the hunt. And this is going to be a really interesting finish here because we've got guys working on different pit strategies here. So let's see who made the right gamble here, who's playing the cards the right way and keeping them close to the vest tonight, Evan.
We're going to find out because the pace car with those lights extinguished on top of it, that Ford Mustang, going to take the sharp left-hand turn down to the safety of pit road. Field in the hands of Jesse Vincent. Winner already. The number 1 car is now off and away. Green flag. Back out Corey Connor. Great restart from P2. The number 2 is sitting there. Now trouble back in the pack. Caution flag. Already out. Big trouble at the start-finish line. Trevor Malone is up and over. Everybody is slowing down. Multiple cars in this one. Looks like it started with contact. I'm seeing the Dano Brookins entry. Looks like going to the outside, the Trevor Malone entry, and maybe not just paying attention to him, just slid up the hill a little bit. Malone gets into him. Those 2 cars in the wall. Up and over goes the Dano Brookins entry. He ends up on the lid of Bradley Walters. That's what sends Trevor into the outside wall, up into the wall in the fencing there as well. 3 cars, somebody else flipping down on the bottom. Krista Nelson for the second time tonight. She went low, just got clipped by Pierre Deigel, and a big mess on that one, which you come to expect if there's trouble, Sean. Everybody stacked up on each other right off of a restart. Very easily, those incidents can go from 1 car to 3, 4, 5. That's what we saw there. And now quickly back under the caution flag, which for those drivers who just came down pit road, exactly what they wanted, as long as they weren't in it.
Yeah, and really that was just a situation right there where Dano and they were just too close. Dano and Trevor Malone were just too close right there, and Trevor didn't really have anywhere to go. He was already up against the wall, and there just wasn't a lot of space there. And unfortunately, those 2 getting together collects all the cars behind him, and it looks like we wind up with about 6 wrecked race cars right there as a result of that. And I haven't really checked and seen who's all gotten their quick fixes yet, but that's probably gonna put a few of these cars out of the race.
And again, a lot of these guys, now that we get to this point, we talked about how there are quite a few cars not on the lead lap right now, 20 of them still sit on the lead lap, but there are quite a few cars out here that are going to be on their second run at it, that have already used up the quick fix. You said it there, many of which in that incident very possibly would have already used that up. And if the damage is too great to go down and either get your required repairs that the sim's going to black flag you until you at least fix that amount, or optional repairs that those guys are going to try to take the opportunity to fix as the race progresses, or that car could just be damaged to the point where it is not repairable. When these things get up and over, these things are very fragile. Despite how fast they can go, we can read you down the Carfax on these, and they are beasts, I'll tell you that much, but they're not very kind to taking damage. That's something that you're going to have to see a lot of these guys. George Anzaldo is from 3rd position. He comes down pit road, which could be for the final time tonight for him, as he elects to come down for service. That would cycle him back to 19th and last on the lead lap. Drew Montz is getting it back the old-fashioned way. Talked about how there's no lucky dogs or wave rounds. Well, he's the first car, or rather the last car on the lead lap, first car behind the pace car. So if he was about 10 feet backwards, then that race leader, Jesse Vincent, would have put him a lap down. Montz will get the wave round, the white flag, group back up to the back of the pack, be 19th, and will be still in this race.
Hey, Evan, you know what? I'm going to take a quick chance to talk about a car out here tonight. Justin Laxon in the number 53 machine, our sponsor with Overdrive Graphics, running for Laps for MD, Laps for Muscular Dystrophy, out here raising funds tonight. And those few laps that he led, he will be donating $1 for each of the laps that he led. 3 laps led, $3 donation so far to Muscular Dystrophy. He's working with an organization out of Canada called the Laps for Muscular Dystrophy Canada. And they've hooked up with several drivers in North America and Canada, the likes of Joey McComb and Shelby Mills, all from different series up there, NASCAR Canadian Tire Series and dirt track racer Shelby Mills. Out there raising money for muscular dystrophy. Justin Laxon running that special paint scheme tonight. Plans to make a huge donation to the organization should he win tonight. And again, every lap he leads is going to muscular dystrophy. You can find them on Twitter at laps, the number 4MD. And he's got their information plastered all over his car, so check it out. Really hot paint scheme he's running tonight. Good on Justin for supporting muscular dystrophy research.
And that's an organization as well that myself being from Canada, I've worked with in the past, not for the the same program, but I've done some stuff with the local fire department. They do a boot drive and whatnot, so nice to see him working with that cause, something that I've had the opportunity to work with as well. So small world how that all works out, but we do want to thank him as well, as he's helping people. They're helping these guys put this race on as well, the sponsors, Overdrive Graphics and Sim Posters, because without them none of this would be possible as well. So Justin Laxton at Overdrive Graphics and John Downing as well for the second season with Sim Posters back on board. Thank you so very much for them as well for making this racing possible for us every Wednesday evening. The pace car gets set to dive back down and away. Vincent once again in control. A little bit more hesitation on this one. He can go from the pace car hits pit road to the green flag flies for the flag stand. Now the green flag flies back and away. A little bit of a hesitation, maybe 2-3 seconds that time for the Red Bull entry, but Vincent off to the races, not too far behind him though. Corey Connor, Ian Adams all over him for those top three. We got big trouble now mid-pack. Huge wreck in 1 and 2. Jack Bogan up and over multiple times. Trevor Malone's in the fence. Everybody slowed down. Joshua Borje Bonkowski. Replay going to be coming up right now after things got real ugly real fast in the corner. Looks like it started with the Jack Bogan entry. An inside move was made by Justin Laxton. Bogan went to shut the door, ran out of room, sent Bogan around hard into the outside wall, collected several cars, back-to-back yellows, where when everybody's grouped up for a restart like that, Sean, when you have one car around, it's so very hard for everybody else to avoid it. You're seeing the onboard there right now to the inside, and looks like Jack may have come down and just maybe not seen him at all, and that's going to cause big trouble for about the same amount of cars that we just saw, at least 4 or 5 of them involved. And looks like our leaders are signaling that they're going to be coming down pit road this time as Jesse Vincent hits the access road. If they were all to come down, everybody would be good fuel-wise from now to the checkered flag.
Yeah, man, that was a tough break. I think I think maybe there was a little impatience involved there. That's really tough on that restart right there. They got bunched up a little bit too quick and just ran out of room, and now we got everybody a little bit tense with each other, and tempers are starting to kind of run up a little bit now. And I think everybody needs to take a deep breath, think about the end game here, because you can take this pit stop right here and make the end of the race. So it's going to be all about getting off this pit lane clean, getting your car back into position, tightening your belts up one last time, get ready to run this thing to the checkers. But that was unfortunate to see so many cars involved in that. That's probably going to throw several of our contenders here towards the back, with probably a little bit of damage to have to fight through. As we've said, several cars have already been involved in other incidents, so we know they've used up those fast fixes. So this will be a tough and challenging finish for some of our drivers tonight. But, the usual cast of characters has still managed to find their way to the front. So, as much as things seem to change, they really don't change that much. Get ready to go back to racing here pretty soon, Evan.
And now we're really starting to get down to crunch time. This race just about having this restart could be right in the ballpark of 25 laps to go, with Jesse Vincent currently being scored at the top of the pile. A lot of action still going on down on pit road. A couple of cars did not cycle down with Jesse this last time by. That's all going to update. But again, if you're pitting now, you're well good, and you're not going to have to worry about saving or none of the yellow flags. You're set to take this one to the distance of this, which is interesting because, again, you talk about the fact that cautions breed cautions, and have a string of them in these last few laps. I talked about the possibility of that those guys would have needed yellows to save fuel while they're getting them, but the problem is most of them are involved in these incidents, because these last 2 yellows have taken out about 10 cars, because again, everybody being grouped up on each other, these incidents can grow so very quickly. Still with 19 cars though on the lead lap ones. That one's still pretty balanced out as it has been for the last few laps, but Vincent Bluthenthal right now could be the dark horse in this one. Started 28th position. He's in the top spot right now in that number 72 car.
Yeah, hey, real fortunate run for him. I'm kind of scanning through the field here and looking at some of these machines and trying to see who's got damage and who doesn't. But looks like most of our front runners are in pretty good shape and are running with pretty clean race cars here. Haven't really stumbled across anybody that looks to be in too bad a shape right now. But, these guys have still got a lot of work to do here. Would love to see them get 20 green flag laps in, but some of these guys are probably starting to feel a little bit of pressure and feeling like the time to go is now. And it is. I mean, let's face it, there's only going to be 20 laps left, but you got to do it with a little bit of patience. And the goal has got to be to get up on that podium tonight, Evan.
Lights have been extinguished on top of the iRacing Ford First Mustang pace car, so we're going to get set to get back underway. 24 laps to go from the Homestead-Miami Speedway, left in round 5 on the Season 2 campaign. You're watching the LionHeart IndyCar Series on Global Sim Racing Channel, alongside myself, Evan Pasoko, Sean Ambrose, and director Amjad Yaman, bringing the coverage to you on this Wednesday evening in a race that has been quite interesting. Opening stints that were quite long, a couple of yellows now, back to back to back, have slowed things down, but really now down the crunch time. It is the Oculus number 72 entry of Vincent Bluthenthal, who has put himself in a position to possibly come home and take this win. If he does it, would have had to pass 27 cars en route to be able to get that job done. Behind him, though, big names: Chris Poole, Big Joe Hassett, Bradley Walters, and Pierre Deigel round out the top 5 right now. 19 of them still in contention as we cycle at a quarter number 4. Could this be one of the final restarts on the race? The pace car with a sharp left-hand turn, down and out of the way. Bluthenthal hesitates 2.5 seconds off. Green flag in the air. Back at it from Homestead-Miami Speedway. Can we make it around? Looks like a lot cleaner restart up front, though. Trouble back in the pack. A couple people swerving around. Huge pack right there around P12, but so far looks like we're all going. Some people bouncing off each other, though, in 1 and 2.
Yeah, it's a little nasty there. That start wasn't really as good as it looked up front. Towards the back of the pack, there was a lot of accordion effect going on. Guys backing up. And, we got a wreck in turn 3. Wreck in 3. Cars in the wall. Yellow flag is out, guys.
Caution will fly for the flag stand as trouble back in the pack. Got to slow things down. We got Corey Connor turned around the wrong direction. Dennis Knuckles out in the road course area, down on the inside of that corner, and they have put us back under the caution flag condition. Once again, a 3-wide situation. We talked about how, quote, the push is real. We talked about how it would be hard off of the corner, going into the corner as well, equally as so. And this is about the 3rd, 4th time tonight a 3-wide battle goes wrong, and it looks like a mutual meeting of contact between the 90 of Dennis Nickel and on the bottom, the 1 car sliding up a little bit. Jesse Vincent, Dennis come down the slightest bit. They make contact. A little bit of net code turns around that car up on the outside lane of Corey Connor. Once you get to that point sideways at 177 miles an hour, not typically going to end well. And 2 out of the 3 of them out. I see the Corey Connor entry kind of got stuck in the fencing for a little bit, so huge contact for him. That's going to cost him a lot of time. He's taking a tow down the pit road. And once again, they cannot just get spread out, Sean. We've talked about how cautions can breed cautions. We're seeing it right now, and when these wrecks happen, they're escalated by the fact that there's people very close together. There's not a lot of time to react. Pretty good restart up front, but that mid-pack area where you saw that battle early in the race, I can guarantee you they would have backed out of that 3-wide. But really now getting down to crunch time, you can't expect the race car driver to not go for that move, and just the way that the aerodynamics work in these cars, it has just not worked out for many of them.
No, it really hasn't. And that restart, like you just said, yeah, it started out real good up front, but man, there was a lot of shuffling, cars just diving all over the place at the back of the field, trying to avoid the big one. And then unfortunately, we almost get a full lap in there, and then the big one happens. So, again, I think it goes back to that point of being just a little patient, and let things spread out a little bit, and then try and make your move in the draft. But, again, there's a lot of pressure here. These guys want to perform well. They want to get up to the front. They want to win the race. And when you're moving that fast, reaction time it has to be spot on. And when it isn't, then you have what happened just now. And maybe there was a little bit of net code involved there, but again, they were a little bit too close going there through the turn.
And then again will slow us down in these caution laps. So don't go by as quickly, maybe at some of the other racetracks. But again, when these guys are green, running lap times in that range of 25, 26 seconds, really knocking off some time very quickly. The last three incidents have featured about 1 and about 3/4 of actual green flag racing off at the restart for these 3 ones to happen. So really have kind of stalled out here at the lap 64 mark. We know this next restart is going to be going on, though, inside of 20 laps to go in this race, and with 17 of them on the lead lap, again, this race is playing right into the hands of some of those drivers that had come down pit road a little bit early, many of which had elected to re-come down pit road on these last few yellows to be sure. But this is playing into the strategy of those guys that are going down a little bit of strategy. I said they needed about 2-3 yellows. They've gotten that. So the strategy call has worked out in their favor. They just have to be able to finish it. A guy like a Vincent Blumenthal, knowing that those guys behind him are going to be able to get the run that they're looking for to try to fight. Right now, being scored in second position is Big Joe Hassert. You do see one car in between them. That is Ray Kingsbury. He is a lap car, and he will be ushered to an appropriate position as the lights do go off on the pace car. So they're going to have to work around that Kingsbury entry, who is 3 laps down, but he'll be separating P1 and P2. Good news for Blumenthal, not what Joe Hassert wants to see if he wants to be able to get to that top spot, hopefully before another yellow would fly.
And man, that orange Oculus Honda is hot. Number 72 is having a great run here, and I tell you what, Vincent Blumenthal has got an angry pack behind him. They want to get in front of him, but good luck, guys, because Vincent is out to win this thing tonight. He made a shrewd move to get to the front, and I doubt he's going to give it up any too easy, Evan.
And he's going to fight for it, but can he defeat air is the question. We know behind him they're going to get a run. The question is, if not as much executing the defensive moves, is executing the repass or the crossover, whatever strategy you need to utilize to be able to get back around that car, should they be able to make a move on you. We'll find out possibly for the final time tonight. Restart coming up with just about 22 laps to go in this one. Scratch that, this time by 19 laps to go. Blumenthal takes the green flag, cross it over, lap 65 to 66, back it away from Homestead-Miami Speedway. Just like the last few times, we've got a big cluster about mid-pack. We'll have to see how they sort that out in 1 and 2.
You know, Evan, I saw a couple of cars go in the pits there just as we were going on the green flag. I think one of them was Jesse Vincent. I'm watching the race now, so I can't go back to it. But, yeah, these guys here at the back of the field are spreading out right now. So, we'll have to check back on that. But I do believe Jesse Vincent was one of the cars in the pits, and he has stopped.
So Vincent down pit road, something to keep a look at as he is down there, still behind the wheel, not sure for a penalty or what, but was still on the lead lap. He has stopped in his stall. Meanwhile, side by side for P2, one of those cars, though, is not even in the fight for it. This car is going to be a factor, though. The lap machine of Ray Kingsbury makes a pass on Vincent Blumenthal, checks him up, opens up the door, and now Joe Hassert to the inside, side by side for what appears to be second, but that's for the lead, as that green, white, and yellow number 52 is a lap machine.
Yeah, and, I'm still riding here at the back of the pack. Everybody right now is behaving themselves for the second. Pete Ramberg looks like he's having a little bit of trouble with the handle on that car. Wonder if he's maybe working with a little bit of damage, but he's been a little bit erratic here going through the turns. Just doesn't seem like he's able to hang on to it. Justin Laxon slid all the way back to 13th place, but he's still battling here in the hunt there, trying to make his way back up. He's following Ramberg right now and trying to make his way back up here to the front of the pack where he was here just a little while ago. But good racing going on back here right now, Evan, and everybody is still getting around here pretty clean. Oh, almost contact there between Robarge and another car. He got in a little hot. Him and Nicholas Gunther almost got into it there, and man, that would have been a pretty nasty little accident there, Evan.
Gonna see Vincent where he may have come down pit road for service, but there is that lap machine though. The 52 car is separating first and second, and because of the way that lap machine put the pass on Vincent Blumenthal, forced him to check up, Joe Hassert was able to make the pass for the top position, and now that lap car is separating Vincent Blumenthal and Bradley Walters as well, the 56 car. Look at Chris Poole down on the bottom. 3 cars battling for second through fourth position, cannot even get to our leader because there's a lap car sitting in between them. Interesting to see how patient they'll be with that 52 car because he's in their way.
Yes, he is. Now, I don't know. I guess you play that however you want, but right now it does look like he's kind of holding up the guys behind him. But hey, listen, you got to get around him. You got to make your move, and you got to find a way to get around him. Work the draft and make a move and get in there. Tuck that car inside and get it through the turn. Looks like we had somebody into Vincent back here. I didn't quite see it, but I'm watching a nice little battle up here. 13th, 14th, 15th place. There are positions to be had here, guys, and a lot of fast cars still in this thing. Corey Connor has made it all the way back to 24th place. He's still back there fighting, trying to get around Michael Gray right now. There's a lot of cars that are really close together and traveling really fast, but it doesn't seem like anybody can seem to catch this front pack right now. They're starting to break away just a bit, Evan.
And one car in particular that is starting to break away 0.5 of a second to the good over the 72 of Vincent Blumenthal, who has more worries on his hand. He can't really focus on Joe Hassert up at the top of the field because he has Bradley Walters all over him. That battle for P2 to the outside lane goes to 56 of Bradley Walters. He'll get the run off to make it at a 4. Give him the position at 10 laps to go now. Vincent Blumenthal, who looked like he may be able to steal this race just laps ago, now slides to 3rd and is not in the clear quite yet because right behind him, Chris Poole, Kingsbury, and company still closing in on him. But right now, it's clear racetrack in front of our race leader. Joe Hassert has a lap car not that far out. It's Jesse Vincent, 1 lap down in P20. He's going to get to him if he's able to use the draft it up to the point now with 9 laps to go in this race. But other than that, nobody for position immediately around him. Check up on the front straightaway. Somebody thought there may have been a wreck, but nothing going on there.
Justin Laxton trying to make a move here, trying to catch up, and he's fighting off a battle right now from with Rick Music. He's trying to get to Rick Music, and then behind him, John Towning's trying to get to him, and Drew Mott's right now also in that battle. He's in 8th place, trying to hold off a car fighting him. PR Deigel up there in 7th. He's got a nice fight going on right now. Just a whole bunch of cars here fighting position. Dan O'Brookins, 27th place. He's in the middle of all this here, and he's trying to fight these cars just behind him that are battling for 16th and 15th place. So cars scattered all over the place, all running for position, Evan.
A lot of fights still to be determined in this one. 3 cars or 4+ cars from 9th on back that are separated by less than 1 second for position in that one. But the one that matters the most is getting larger and larger. Bradley Walters needs to make something happen, or he needs a yellow if he wants to see that Ray Kingsbury entry, who again, 3 laps down, is right in the thick of things and is being a factor in this fight for the race win. Separating race leader Joe Hassert from at one point was Vincent Blumenthal. However, he led on that final restart. He's now down pit road as he's unable to make that strategy come all the way to fruition. Coming down pit road, looks like he was forced in for fuel. Obviously frustrated as he was unable to maintain the lead and then unable to stretch the fuel as far as he would have needed. Will go from first to off the lead lap in the blink of an eye and bring us down to 14 cars on the lead lap. But Joe Hassert only getting further and further away as Walters having to fight now. They've been able to get around the lap car. Now fighting the side by side as Chris Poole fights on the outside. 3 wide up through the middle. Matt Kingsbury, the 021, what a move. Gonna slide up 3 wide, get the second, overdrives the corner, almost gets into the fence. Now we got 4 cars going at it here at a corner 4 and down the front straightaway. This is a huge melee for second place.
I think that move will probably be talked about after the race. That was pretty risky. He got it in there, and he made it work, and he made the move there on Walters. It gets in front of Walters. Got his brother right there in front of him, Ray Kingsbury right there in front of him. Also, now Ray's down in 26th place, but Matt can draft off of him and try and make his way to the front here. He's still got time, but he's running out of it quick here as we are on lap 82, coming down to the closing seconds here of this race, Evan.
This race now coming down to the very end of it, a race that we were talking about spoilers and guys that started back in the 20s and whatnot. 2 laps to go for Big Joe Hassard after starting on a podium spot, went backwards and has nearly brought this thing all the way back around. Behind him, Matt Kingsbury after making the 3-wide move of the year so far, I'd say, for that second position, splitting a whole bunch of guys to be able to get up to there. He sits second, but he's going to be 1.7 seconds too far back. 2 seconds back, Bradley Walters in third, and a tough break for Bluthenthal, who just led this race. He's 19th at a lap off of the place. But the white flag is in the air for the 11 of Big Joe Hassard, a race that saw him showed speed. He had to fight through it, a lot of strategy, a couple of yellow flags there, lead us to a 10-lap shootout. When it's all said and done, lap traffic right there with Joe, no challenge for position, and at a quarter number 4 for the final time, checkered flag number 5 on the Season 2 campaign, and give the win to the driver of the 11, Big Joe Hassard in victory lane.
Big Joe Hassard. And hey, hats off to George Anzaldo with a 4th place finish tonight. You know, he was so wanting to do well tonight and was looking for hopefully the podium, and he just came up a little short as Brad Walters got ahead of him there just a little bit there at the end. But George had to fight Drew Motzoff, who was coming hard, and they went across the line together. And I think it was probably just thousandths of a second that George got past Drew there at the end. Great race to the finish by several guys. Rick Music and Dan Guerin with a nice battle there. Pierre Deigel, great finish for him, getting in the top 10. John Downing, one of our sponsors tonight, Overdrive Graphics, great job for him. Justin Laxon, great job for him as well, finishing in 11th place tonight. Really, really good run by several of these guys tonight.
And celebrating, and possibly one of the fan favorites, the 11 car burns it down. Joe Hassard is your winner for round 5, and the Homestead-Miami Speedway goes to that Honda entry. Still a lot more to come on the Global Sim Racing channel. Post-race show coming up. We'll try to talk to our top 3 finishers and let you know what's going to be going on for our next race at the Circuit Gil Villeneuve and in our next broadcast at Phoenix as well. A lot more to come. Post-race show from Homestead. Stay tuned. Back live in Dade County, Florida, in the Homestead-Miami Speedway, Season 2 of the LionHeart IndyCar Series on Global Sim Racing Channel. Post-race show after Round 5 goes in the direction of fan favorite, the 11, Big Joe Hassert. He takes home the win tonight. Myself, Evan Pasoko, Sean Ambrose, director I'm Jed Yaman, with you for the post-race on GSRC on this Wednesday evening after what was a very interesting race, Sean. We saw a lot of green flag racing to kick it off, a couple of yellows there towards that two-thirds mark, and a 10-lap shootout that saw Big Joe Hassert have to make a late race move to get that spot. He takes home the win. Let's give you the full field rundown presented by Sim Posters at Overdrive Graphics. Matt Kingsbury coming home with a P2. Third is Bradley Walters. George Anzaldo with a P4 after starting 29th. Fifth for Drew Mods. Huge pickup for that team. Sixth position in the direction of Chris Poole. Dan Jaren 7th. 8th as well, Rick Music. 9th to Pierre Deichel. And rounding out our top 10, the John Downing entry, him from Sim Posters.
Yeah, and in the laps for MD car, Justin Laxon from Overdrive Graphics having a really nice run, coming from 20th place to finish 11th. Robert Bluen finishing 12th tonight in the Lowe's machine. John Martin, 13th place tonight. Michael Gray, 14th. And starting in 24th, Ian Adams manages to get a top 15 finish tonight, finishing 15th place. Joshua Borje Bonkowski, he finished 16th tonight at number 193. In 17th, Trevor Malone. In 18th, Vincent Blumenthal, who was there at the front of the race there in the closing laps. And then just that last caution really messed him up there. So Vincent Blumenthal winds up in 18th. 19th, Jesse Vincent. Tough night for Jesse. Still our points leader heading into next week, but tough night for Jesse in 19th place. And rounding out the top 20, Anthony Lurcock and the number 42.
You got Corey Connor, 21st, 22nd as well, in the direction of Peter Ramberg, who had trouble early on in this one. Michael Whitman did not put down a time of qualifying, started on provisionalist, and comes home in 23rd. 24th to Nicholas Gwenther. Ray Kingsbury back in 25th position. Dan O'Brookins with a P26, 27th. Jason Robarge. Dennis Nickel, 28th, 29th. Goes to Jack Bogan. Kristen Elson, after another rough week out, finishes in 30th. 28th through 31st are the cars that finish behind the wall and out of this race. Dead last on this chart, 39 laps out of it, Carl Burke in the 027. Alfred Shepard was scheduled to start at 32nd, never did hit the grid, so it is going to be an official count of 31 cars making the start for this one. And going to start things off a little bit different down on pit road with what's going to be our fourth place finisher tonight. He started 14th position. He comes home in what's going to be a
User
P4.
was moved to your
and down
channel.
on pit road, Sean Ambrose, you've caught up with the number 6 of George Anzaldo.
I have caught up with George Anzaldo. And George, I really thought you were going to get yourself on the podium there tonight, man. I was really pulling for you, but hey, you can't be too sad about finishing fourth place tonight. What a crazy race out there, George.
Yeah, that was definitely a wild one for sure. Yeah, I was just happy to finish in the top 5 there. This is, I think it's got to be my best finish yet for the series. I thought I had a little bit of a run there for Bradley. I think I over anticipated it and just kind of went for it too soon. Should have tried to set it up there for the final lap, but no, it was a great race, and glad I was able to survive some of the incidents there and bring it home.
Well, man, you moved up 5 spots of the points. You're up to 13th, man. Just knocking on the door of top 10 in points right now, and just a great run for that machine tonight. And, again, I really thought you had a shot at the podium there. All that practice paid off for you. Didn't have the greatest qualifying effort. I'm sure you were a little disappointed with that, but overall, just a great run to come back and finish fourth place tonight, George.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Sean. Appreciate that. Qualifying has never been my strong suit, but yeah, the practice certainly paid off. Found a great line and was just trying to conserve the tires and felt really strong there at the end. I had some luck with the yellows and my pit sequence that put me with plenty of fuel to the end. Was able to stay out and just kind of carve my way back up through the field. But yeah, definitely a great run. I'm really happy with the result.
Well, George, hey, we want to thank you for bringing this league to us and to all of your viewers and all of your fans. You ran a great race tonight. You want to thank anybody before we let you go?
Well, I'd just like to thank the whole admin team for all their hard work, and most importantly, the members. Without the members, we have no league. So definitely appreciate them coming out week in and week out, and helping make the series continue to grow in the way that it has been. So definitely just Shout out to the members and the admin team, and to you guys for what you guys do for the series. We love your broadcast.
Well, George, hey, we love you, man, and keep those messages on iRacing coming. Message us as much as you want, okay, buddy? We appreciate you. Thank you.
You got it. Thanks, guys.
All right, Evan, back to you, buddy.
We've caught up now with some of the finishers inside of the top three, beginning with the car that's going to come home in P2 tonight. Driver of the 021 machine, Matt Kingsbury, who started on pole position after not even being top 10 in the practice session, comes up with a blistering 25.605 to get that spot. He comes back at the end of it, one spot short, and I'm going to be honest, I thought he was going to take out about three of the cars in the top five. What a three-wide move to get that 021 machine back up there. We've caught up with Matt down here on pit road, and Matt, we saw a couple of yellows there string back to back to back in the latter stages, many of which caused from three-wide battles. Made one work up through the middle, probably the most daring one of the race, and one of the most exciting moves we've seen all season. You made that work, though. You come home second, not enough to get back to Joe, but a P2 for you guys, well-rounded race.
Yeah, it was a good race, another 1-2 for the team here, and that's really cool. The three-wide move was, I don't know, I just saw an opening and went for it. It was 4 to go. Those guys gave me enough room, and I gave them as much as I could. When you get drivers that know what they're doing, clearly it works. When you get drivers that don't know what they're doing, and they have new tires and still can't do it, those are the guys you can't trust, so... guys I passed there, I think it was Bradley and Chris, clearly did a good job there, and we can all trust each other to hold our lines there.
Rolling out of this one again, the season started off with 3 ovals, hit the road courses up 1 week ago, back here at the Homestead-Miami Speedway, where you're going to be back on the road side of things at the Circuit Gilles-Villeneuve in 1 week's time for 31 laps at an off week before we're back on air and we're back on the ovals. But now that this season, I talked about it when we went live for the broadcast, it's the quote-unquote high at the beginning of the season. It's starting to wear off, and it's crunch time. You're in the middle part of the season, a part that can very easily be kind of overlooked. People can kind of drift away for the championship standings a little bit till you get down to the final 5 races. These are where you can make and lose positioning, and with 3 drop weeks, another solid second place for you ensures that this is not going to have to be one of them. But what is the mentality rolling forward for this 021 machine, knowing there's still a long way to go, knowing you have competitive cars, and really just going forward and looking to close these races out?
Well, I'm never one of those guys that's going to sit around in the back unless I think I have to, so if we're not wrecking, we're probably going to be winning or towards the front. Wrecking, hopefully it's not going to be our own fault. I don't think it has been in the past recently. If you're going to see wrecks, it's probably because I put myself in a bad spot and someone can control their car, so hopefully we can put ourselves in the right spots, make smart passes, and I think we've got a good shot at every track from here on out, so if we can just execute, we'll have more wins.
I like that saying. You're going to be wrecking or you'll be up there winning and obviously fighting for it. We know you've had speed, and it nearly came all the way back to fruition tonight after starting up front there, coming back late in the race. It's 1 spot short. The gap going to be 1.7 seconds, but you're going to get the second most points out of tonight. A good run for you and the team, as always, Matt. Before we let you head back off and head out north of the border, coming up for this next race, sponsors and shout-outs, all that good business. Who makes this kind of a run possible for you as well as your team?
Yeah, I got to thank St. Pius Pilgrimage Company. We got to thank Rack Service for hosting some stuff for us, our servers, stuff like that. Corsa servers. Check out our league if you have a set of Corsa. I got to thank my teammates, Joe Hastert, Ray, and Dan. They did a great job in the race there. Fortunately, strategy almost didn't work out there for the start. Me and Joe, we split the strategy down the middle, but we ended up putting it 1-2 anyway, so it was a good fun race.
It's a solid run for you and the team as well. Again, Matt, thanks for having a moment to talk to us. Congratulations again on the second place finish. I wish you and the best of your team luck going forward. Still a long way to go, but we'll see you in 3 weeks' time for our next race at Phoenix. But good luck at Montreal.
Thank you.
It is your second place finisher, and he mentioned it there, the other part of that team, the car that comes home P1 that started on the inside of the second row. Big Joe Hassert with a last restart pass around leader. At that point, Vincent Bluthenthal to get the job done. A popular win of the Big Joe Cam takes it home tonight, Joe, and victorious after starting third, coming through to the end on the strategy. We just talked to your teammate, Matt Kingsbury. He comes home in second position in this one. But you're in victory lane 5 races into the season. You do it at Homestead-Miami Speedway. How'd you get that job done?
Oh, man, me and Matt, we were working together early there. I thought we made a call together to stay out in the pits, and I thought I was DOA at first, man. We got caught back in 20th, had to take that wave around, and I just stayed patient, and sure enough, we get that string of cautions. I see guys going down the pit road one by one, made my way to the front, and had a little help from my other teammate Ray there at the front. He was actually begging me to give him a lap back, but he got up there behind me, and then Anthony got behind me, and it was smooth sailing to the finish.
You and Matt come home 1-2. You both gained 2 spots in the championship standings. You guys sit back-to-back 4th, and then yourself in 5th position. First top 5 on the year is this one that translates into a trip to victory lane. Going to be a 3rd top 10, though, and out of that, the 2nd most out of all the active drivers there. And I posed the same question to Matt. I'll ask you the same thing as well. Now that we're 5 races in, now 5 of the books, we're going to be rolling forward to races 6, 7, 8, etc. Really in the bulk part of this season. Parts that sometimes can be overlooked when you get down to it. Everybody really pays attention to the championship standings in those final races. But knowing that you got 3 drop weeks in this series, you don't want to use them, just like what me and Sean discussed earlier. You don't want to have to use those quick fixes as well. It's this middle part of the season where you can really make or break it. And what have you assessed so far how you and the team have done? Things that you feel maybe you want to improve on, and what you think's going to be going down the next time you guys are out there on track 1 week's time from the Circuit Gil Villeneuve. That one not going to be televised. We'll be back on air 3 weeks' time and 2 races in Phoenix. But what are you looking forward to here?
Well, I tell you what, those road courses worry me, and I think I took 8th or 9th at Sonoma there, and I haven't even turned a lap yet at Villeneuve, so I got some work to do this week. If I can, take those top 10s when I can get them on the road and not have to burn up drop weeks, I'm ecstatic, and it's going to leave me right up there in the championship when we get towards the end of the season.
You win the race tonight. Is this going to be the only time we see that number 11 in victory lane? I know you're not counting on that being it. What are some of those tracks maybe you got circled on the calendar here rolling forward? We know and we expect you to be competitive every week. I know you expect that of yourself, but anything stand out here rolling forward with just about 13 races left that you think you got a real good shot at?
I know Phoenix has been a strong suit for me. I should have a top 5 car there. Once we get rolling into some of the bigger tracks, Indianapolis, tracks like that where, minimal braking, lots of drafting, those are the bigger tracks that I do well at. Texas, I love. It's very interesting this year now with the new tire model. Hopefully, just being able to keep it up front. And I have great teammates, Matt, Ray, Dan, Austin, that they show me the way and make me better every day.
Well, before we let you go, sponsor shout-outs. I know you've talked about some of the names here. People that make this run possible. Was a solid night for you, a solid night for your team. Who's everybody behind the scenes that makes this kind of a run possible?
Oh man, Overdrive Graphics and LionHeart are my car sponsors. Big shout out to them. Justin's been great for me. He's made some cars for me for the NASCAR series and the Nationwide series. I'll be running some leagues there on other nights, and then my Team LO, Last Lap Motorsports. Those guys have been great.
Well, you almost waited till the last lap to do it. You did it on the final restart. A great move on the outside. You get the job done. Congratulations, Joe, on the trip to victory lane. First one, and hopefully first of a few this season. Thanks for talking with us. Congratulations once again. Good luck in Montreal, and we'll see you in Phoenix.
Thanks. I'm going to go try to get my heart rate down.
Sounds like a plan. That is your winner tonight, piloting the number 11 car. Started on the inside of row 2 and third, comes home victorious. And on the third top 10, first top 5, and first trip to victory lane, Joe Hassert takes home all the marbles at the Homestead-Miami Speedway. And Sean, I can't say I'm surprised. that these races come down to a late race restart to decide it. The fuel strategy, the big carnage, something that, we see week in week out. This race really had a little bit of everything like we've come to expect, and it was a great race overall from Dade County. Before we send it off, and again, going to be at Phoenix the next time we bring the television cameras with us. I think we're going to have plans on headed out to my country. I'll get you some Tim Hortons, Sean, and we'll catch the race at Montreal and let everybody know what went on there when we come back at Phoenix. But final thoughts from this one before we head off for a little bit.
Well, I will definitely take you up on that Tim Hortons for sure, as I am a fan. But we saw a great race tonight, and we did see a little bit of everything early on. Guys making strategy decisions on that first pit stop there, and some guys deciding to stay out. So it was really a great night. And hey, we got another green flag finish with the LionHeart Indy Series. I've watched a lot of different leagues and a lot of different series out here on iRacing, and not a lot of series can boast that they finish under green flag. So we'll take what we can get here tonight, and a green flag finish we got, and we saw a great race. We saw some jockeying for position there late. We saw Matt Kingsbury make a very daring move there in the closing laps of the race, gain position. So, hey, great evening all around. I am really looking forward to heading out to Phoenix with these guys when we get back on TV with them. Can't wait to see the race from Montreal. Looking forward to that. That's a really tough, challenging circuit. It's very fast, but it's very tight. Tough to pass there. So it will qualifying will be at a premium next week for those guys as they get ready to tackle the Gilles Villeneuve circuit in Montreal. But definitely looking forward to getting to Phoenix, where they will be running the open dog leg. Should be a very, very fast experience for them. And, there'll be a lot of guys that'll be challenged to get around that flat track quick. So can't wait to get out there. Evan, enjoy your break here. Look forward to seeing you here back at the booth real soon.
Yeah, Phoenix has been quite interesting since that the new configuration has been implemented on iRacing. I know in the official series, so hopefully things are a little bit more tame than that. But these Indy cars always exciting on those shorter and the flat tracks as such. Again, need to thank everybody that makes this possible. Series sponsors: Overdrive Graphics, Justin Laxton and his game, as well as John Downing with Sim Posters. More thanks to everybody that makes the streaming stuff possible. The iRacing.com Motorsport Simulator, XSplit for free and easy live streaming and recording, Audio Technica Corporation, Aver Media USA, as well as the LionHeart team. All the drivers talked about it. Cannot thank enough the guys like John Downing, Chief Steward, Public Relations, George Anzalto, and league admins Joe Hassert, Drew Motz, and Tony Lurcock. Without them, this league would not be the well-oiled machine that it is, that allows us to have the opportunity to broadcast such exciting races. Additional thanks to the camera sets provided by Dougie Beard, and music provided by Eric Ekholm, ericekholm.com. That's ERIKEKHOLM.com, as well as Casey Lalonde. Stay up to date with more with the Global Sim Racing Channel, online at globalsimracingchannel.com, Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook.com/Global Sim Racing Channel, and as well as the LionHeart Racing Series. All the information from, results to points, all that good stuff, LionHeartRacingSeries.com. We will see you next time for round 7 from Phoenix, but again, note round 6 in 2 weeks' time. Not televised from Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. That one going to be 1 week from tonight on the 18th. The cameras will be back in 3 weeks and around 7. So on behalf of the broadcast crew tonight, myself, Evan Pasoko, Sean Ambrose, and director, I'm Jed Yaman. Good night from the Homestead-Miami Speedway. Congratulations to Big Joe Hassert. He's your winner tonight in Dade County, Florida. And we'll see you in 3 weeks' time. We go racing from Phoenix International Raceway. Good night.